Super Mario Brothers, Dead or Alive, Blood Rain, Hitman, Street Fighter, Tekken, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, World of Warcraft, Doom, Ratchet and Clank, Monster Hunter, and now this bullshit. And there's plenty more that I didn't mention. All of these movies and then some are the reason why I can't stand modern Hollywood and modern film-going audiences. This is my review of Mortal Kombat. So there's two types of movies that a filmmaker can make. Either you can make a completely original film that's not based off of like an original series of fictional work, or something that's not a biopic, or you can do something like a biopic or an adaptation, something like that. Something that's either based on something that actually happened or something that's based off of a series of popular works. So with Mortal Kombat, this is obviously an adaptation, but it's a kind of adaptation that's been panned time and time again in Hollywood, and that's the video game adaptation. The problem with video game adaptations is that the filmmakers spend too much time trying to insert as much fan service into the movies as possible in order to sell more tickets at the theater. And doing so, they really neglect the basic things that you need for a movie to be any good, to be of any substantial quality. Things such as character development, plot progression, character agency, pacing, things that every good movie needs to be good. And Mortal Kombat suffers in quite a few of these areas. For one, the characters that appear in this movie are underdeveloped. If you do not play the Mortal Kombat games, any of the games, if you haven't played in any of the recent games or even any of the older ones, you're not going to know who these characters are. You're not going to care who these characters are. And even if you do, this is the thing. Even if you do play the games, or you have played the games and you know who the characters are, the movie still fucking fails because there's so much that they actually got wrong that it's just straight up insulting for anyone who's an actual fan of the series itself. So what are some of the things that I'm talking about without going too much into spoiler territory? For one, they completely got Mileena wrong. Mileena is one of the most popular Mortal Kombat characters. They completely fucked that character up. Mileena in this movie is not the character from the games whatsoever. And then on top of that, there's an important character from the games, which is important for Mileena to really be relevant at all. That's just straight up missing. And obviously that character is Kitana. Kitana is not in this movie. She's not mentioned in this movie. And Shao Kahn is also not in this movie. Shao Kahn, there's a Shao Kahn statue or whatever that they showed in the trailer. And that's as much as you'll get from that character in this movie. And that's also an important character for explaining why Mileena is important. Also, the Tarkatan, part of Mileena, because she's half human, half Tarkatan or whatever. There's no Tarkatans in this movie, so the character Baraka and his tribe or whatever, those characters do not make an appearance in this movie. Those characters are not mentioned in this movie whatsoever. And so that's just one example. Then there are characters that you have that are missing, such as Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is one of the most glaring omissions from this movie, which doesn't make any sense because they got Sonya Blade in this movie, and Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage, that's one of the most entertaining character dynamics in Mortal Kombat, the series itself. And the fact that that character is not in this movie at all is just insulting because, they don't know if they're going to be able to make a sequel out of this, if this is going to be popular enough at the theater and it's not going to bomb in the box office for them to, have the opportunity to make a sequel, and for them to just submit a character like Johnny Cage is just absurd. And then there's other characters that they got wrong too. It's not just Melina and the absence of Johnny Cage, Shao Kahn, and some of these other characters, but they also got Kano. Kano really is just annoying in this movie. I can't stand that character at all. The way they presented him. Jax is also a character that's underutilized and isn't really important. And what gets me is that they put this new character called Cole into the movie, and Cole is a character that they made up for the movie itself. This is a character that doesn't exist in the video game series at all. That just makes it even more strange, and just I don't understand like what they were thinking, what the producers were thinking when they were concepting what this was going to be. And then on top of that, we have other characters in the movie, such as Scorpion, for example. Scorpion is not in this movie at all. You see the intro. It's like the first thing you see in the movie is Scorpion's backstory, where he loses his family and all that, and he doesn't make an appearance at all again until the very end of the movie. So it's like, that doesn't even really make any sense, because Scorpion is like one of the poster characters for the series itself. If you look at the game, Scorpion has been on the cover of pretty much every recent Mortal Kombat game, going all the way back to the PS3 and the Xbox 360 days. So it's like, I don't understand like what they were thinking once again. And it's just so strange with like the way the action is shot in this is just, it's so generic and predictable what happens in the fight sequences. A lot of the fights or whatever that's in the movie is very, very short. There's not a whole lot of action here at all. And even the fatalities that you see that's in the movie, they're all limited. And just about all of them, most of them anyway, were already in the trailer. And then on top of that, there's not a single fatality that's in this movie that's not in the games. Obviously, the games have more fatalities and they have more gruesome fatalities. So there's, as a fan, there's really no reason to go and see the movie for that reason either. On top of that, there's no actual Mortal Kombat tournament that takes place in the movie, despite the fact that the Mortal Kombat tournament itself is actually mentioned a few times in the movie. There's no actual tournament that ever takes place in the movie at all, which is strange. I just, once again, what the hell was going on, behind closed doors when these film producers got together and said, you know what, we're gonna make a Mortal Kombat movie. We need this character, we need that character in the movie. And yeah, it'll be called Mortal Kombat, but there's not actually going to be, an actual tournament where these characters face off against each other. And once again, it's insulting because they have sequences, they have scenes where the characters are training or whatever. And it's like, what are you guys training for if there's not going to be a tournament? It's fucking stupid. Then they have too many characters in this movie, so no one really gets an appropriate amount of screen time. And that's what I don't really get about these video game movies that are based off of fighting games, because what they do is that they'll take as many characters as they can possibly get from the games, and they'll just stuff them into the movie to the point where there's too many characters in the movie and there's not enough character development, so you don't really care about anyone or anything that happens to any of the characters during the entire runtime. Which, by the way, this movie is around an hour and 38 minutes or some shit. And the entire time I was just like bored. I'm like, when is this shit going to be over? There's not a compelling narrative at all. Something about this Cole character has a birthmark that has the Mortal Kombat dragon symbol or whatever imprinted on his chest or something. And he's been chosen to take part in this tournament that never takes place in the movie or some dumb shit. And so these characters, they're all summoned and gathered together. And basically, it's just a waste of time. Nothing really ever happens. And then you have other characters like that are just completely devoid of emotion. The actors don't emote at all, such as the actor who plays Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung in this movie is just a brick wall. He's not interesting at all. He doesn't have any personality whatsoever. And if you compare this Shang Tsung to Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, the original Shang Tsung actor, who was so good enough in the movie, that he was so popular in the movie, so beloved in the original 1995 film, that NetherRealm Studios and WB Games, they actually asked him to come back and voice Shang Tsung for the most recent Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat 11. If you compare this Shang Tsung to that Shang Tsung, it's just a night and day comparison. There's, one is good and the other is just shit. There's just so much that's just wrong with this movie, from the pacing to the characters, the way the characters are portrayed, to the stupid plot, the action sequences, even like the basic. If you're just going to see this movie just for the action, it's like there's so many better martial arts, themed movies that you can watch. Really, any movie out of Jackie Chan or Jet Li or Tony Jaa's, their filmography, Bruce Lee, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Raid. There's just so many different movies that you can watch that are just far better than this when it comes to just the action, just the martial arts aspect. And like I said, this movie is just a waste of time. Just another shit video game adaptation that Hollywood keeps trying to shove down the throats of modern film going audiences. And like I said, this was just some bullshit. I hated every minute of it, and yeah, man, I really hope they stop with these fucking video game adaptations. But unfortunately, we have another one that's coming out later this year with the Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, as it's going to be called. Yeah, that's going to be some garbage too. They already race-bended some of the characters from the games in that, including Jill Valentine and fucking Leon Kennedy. I'm just done, dude. Fuck these movies. As someone who covers video games extensively on YouTube, yeah, man, this was just it's nonsense. I didn't even like the last Mortal Kombat game that came out, Mortal Kombat 11. I hate that fucking game, but I would rather suffer through another season of Combat League than to sit and watch this nonsense again. So, yeah, when it comes to the new Mortal Kombat movie, it's a piece of shit. Hollywood needs to chill out with these, because there's nothing here for anybody, whether you're a fan of the games or not.
The target has superhuman ability.